Okay, confession. I used to buy pasta like I was picking socks. Same one every time, no thoughts, just vibes. Then one night, I'm standing there staring at a pot like, why is this turning into mush? Why won't the sauce stick? Why do these noodles feel weirdly slippery? That's when I realized pasta brands are not all the same, not even close. So I started comparing them, reading labels, looking into how they're made, and testing what actually matters in a real kitchen. And if you've got a blue box habit, you might want to hear this. 5 pasta brands that consistently disappoint for the money, then 5 brands that actually cook the way pasta should cook. The kind that holds sauce, keeps its bite, and doesn't turn dinner into a mushy guessing game. Let's start with the 5 I'd skip. Number 5. Colavita. Colavita is one of those brands that looks premium before you even open the box. Made in Italy, heritage vibes, durum wheat semolina, right on the front and packaging that basically dares you to assume it's automatically better. And yes, it's produced in Italy. Yes, it's made from durum wheat semolina. Those are real positives. The problem is what shows up once you stop reading the front like it's a love letter. On many Colavita pasta products, the ingredient list includes added nutrients like niacin, thiamine mononitrate, riboflavin, folic acid, and iron compounds. That's enrichment. It's the same general approach used in a lot of American shelf-stable staples. Refine the grain, strip parts out, then add synthetic nutrients back to hit a target nutrition profile. Is that illegal? No. Is it automatically dangerous? No. But it is a big sign that this pasta isn't the simple, just semolina and water product most people think they're buying when they reach for imported packaging and pay a premium. If you don't care about enrichment, you might still enjoy it. But if you're paying for the idea of traditional simplicity, Colavita often doesn't match the story it's selling. You're paying extra for the imported image, while getting a product that's been adjusted to fit a market expectation. Number 4. Aldi's standard boxed pasta, especially the specialty shapes. This one frustrates people because Aldi's whole thing is value. A lot of shoppers bought Aldi pasta for years and had zero problems. Then something shifted, and the complaints started sounding the same across different kitchens. Pasta that used to behave normally started breaking down, especially the shapes that need strength, like farfalle. Those bow tie pinches are basically stress points. If the dough quality, hydration, or drying process isn't dialed in, that center crimp becomes the first thing to fail. So you cook it and you don't get bow ties. You get bow tie fragments floating around your pot. People describe it falling apart even when they swear they didn't overcook it. And when that pattern shows up repeatedly, it usually isn't user error. It points to manufacturing changes, faster drying, cheaper semolina, or quality control getting looser. The worst part is the illusion of savings. If half your pasta breaks down in the pot, you didn't save money. You paid less for a worse meal, and then you had to explain to your family why dinner looks like it got shredded. If you personally buy a specific Aldi pasta, and it always works, stick with what works for you. But overall, the everyday boxed stuff has enough consistency complaints that I'd rather not gamble, especially with the cute shapes that are supposed to be fun and end up turning into starchy rubble. Number 3. Barilla. Barilla is the default pasta for a lot of Americans. The blue box is everywhere, it's familiar, it's easy to find, and it's the brand people reach for on autopilot, and that's the problem. When something becomes the default, it stops getting questioned. A lot of mass-market pasta is produced for speed and consistency at huge scale, and that often means a smoother surface on the noodle. That surface matters because it changes how sauce behaves. When the surface is smooth and slick, sauce slides. It doesn't cling and coat the way you want it to, especially with simpler sauces. If you've ever made carbonara, cacio e pepe, or even a basic tomato sauce, and wondered why the sauce pooled at the bottom instead of hugging the pasta, the noodle texture can be a major reason. Rougher pasta helps the sauce grab on. Slick pasta makes it slip off. There's also the ingredient approach you'll see across a lot of mainstream products. Enrichment. Again, not illegal, not automatically dangerous. But it does matter if you're buying based on the assumption that you're getting a simple traditional staple. And if you care about what happens before wheat becomes pasta, it's fair to mention conventional wheat farming can involve herbicide use in the field, including glyphosate in some practices. Independent testing has found trace residues in some wheat-based foods. That doesn't mean every box is loaded, and it doesn't mean pasta is being sprayed directly, but if you're trying to limit that kind of exposure, you should at least know it's part of the bigger picture. If Barilla works for you, you're not crazy, people eat it every day. But if you've been frustrated by sauce not clinging, or pasta tasting bland and slick, Barilla is often where those complaints start. Number 2. San Giorgio. San Giorgio is the kind of brand people buy because it's everywhere, it's cheap, and it feels like it's been around forever. It's old reliable in a lot of households. But what you hear again and again are complaints about brittleness. Open the package and there are broken pieces before cooking even starts. Shells already cracked. Farfalla already shattered. Pieces that look like they couldn't survive their own packaging process. Sure, shipping damage can happen, but when the same complaints show up repeatedly, it starts sounding less like delivery problems and more like product structure problems. Pasta shouldn't be so fragile that normal handling turns it into fragments. When pasta breaks before it hits boiling water, it usually points to the structure. Over-drying can make it brittle. Weak dough formulation can make it fragile. Either way, you end up paying for product that's already failed. And in the pot, that brittleness can turn into uneven cooking. Some pieces go soft fast, while thicker pieces hold out. The texture feels inconsistent, and it's the kind of thing that quietly ruins a dish even when you did everything else right. If you've ever opened a box and thought, why is half of this already broken? That's not just bad luck. With brands that show this pattern a lot, it's the product. Number 1. Banza. Banza is one of those products people buy with good intentions. Higher protein, gluten-free, chickpea-based, marketed like a simple swap for regular pasta. The problem is that chickpea pasta isn't wheat pasta. It doesn't behave like wheat pasta, and it doesn't forgive mistakes like wheat pasta. Wheat pasta holds together because gluten creates a natural elastic network. Chickpea pasta is trying to imitate that structure with other ingredients, like starches and gums, because chickpeas don't have gluten. So cooking becomes touchy. A minute too long and it can tip into mush. The water can get foamy and boil over if you're not watching. You have to babysit it more than most people expect. And then there's the leftovers problem. A lot of people cook pasta for meal prep. Chickpea pasta can reheat gummy, stiff, and honestly unpleasant compared to how it was fresh. If you made a big batch expecting easy lunches, you can end up with leftovers that feel like a completely different food. If you love Banza and you've learned the timing, it can work. But if you want a direct replacement for wheat pasta, it's not that. It's a specialized product that asks more of you, costs more, and still doesn't deliver the same experience most people want from pasta. Alright, that's the avoid list. Now let's talk about 5 brands that actually feel worth buying. The ones that cook well, hold sauce, and don't make you feel like you got fooled by the box. Number 5. Cecco. Cecco is one of the easiest step-up brands to find, and it's usually the first one people notice a real difference with. Cook it and you'll often see it right away. The texture tends to be more satisfying, the surface has more grip, the noodle holds its bite better, and sauce clings more naturally. This is the kind of pasta that makes simple dishes taste better without you doing anything fancy. You don't have to drown it in heavy sauce to make it feel like a good meal. It pulls its weight. For a lot of people, Cecco is the first time they realize pasta doesn't have to be slick and bland. It can have texture and character without being some boutique specialty item. Number 4. Mueller. Mueller isn't glamorous. It's not trying to charm you with an Italian backstory. It's the brand you walk past because it looks plain. But plain is not the same as bad. Mueller tends to be consistent, it cooks predictably, it holds its structure, it doesn't fall apart if you look away for 30 seconds. And that consistency matters when you're feeding people, and you don't have time for pasta roulette. Is it artisanal? No, it's mainstream pasta. But in the everyday category, it's a reliable choice, especially for families who want something that works every time. Weeknight cooking is stressful enough, your pasta shouldn't be the wild card. Number 3. Rusticella. Rusticella is the kind of pasta you buy when you want the pasta itself to matter. It's often produced with slower methods and a noticeably rougher texture, and you can feel it even before you cook it. The surface is grippy and porous, and that's not just for show. It's designed to hold sauce, not let it slide off. When you cook it properly, the bite is substantial. Not hard, not undercooked, just dense and satisfying. It doesn't disappear under sauce. It holds its own. This isn't the pasta I'd waste on a heavy, overloaded sauce, where the meat and tomatoes do all the talking. This is the pasta for simpler dishes, where the noodle is allowed to be the star. Aglio e olio, cacio e pepe, carbonara, lighter tomato sauces. You taste the pasta, you feel the texture, and the whole meal slows down a little in a good way. It's expensive, so I'm not pretending it's an everyday buy for everyone. But if you've ever wondered what people mean when they talk about truly good pasta texture, Rusticella makes the difference obvious. Number 2. Sfoglini. Sfoglini is where you start getting into pasta that feels made with more intention, longer drying, more focus on texture, and a finished product that feels sturdier and more deliberate. You'll notice more chew and more grain character. And yeah, that's a preference thing. Some people love that extra chew, some people want something softer. But either way, sfoglini usually tastes like someone cared how it eats, not just how fast it can be produced. It's also a great brand if you like shapes designed to grab sauce. When a shape is done well, it changes the dish. Same sauce, same ingredients, but suddenly everything clings and every bite feels more complete. Number 1. Setaro. Setaro is a brand that tends to show up when people care about ingredient simplicity and traditional methods. The big appeal is that it often keeps things straightforward, focusing on semolina and water, with a texture and bite that feels closer to what people mean when they say real pasta. When it's done right, you get that true al dente resistance. Sauce clings better. The pasta holds up to stronger sauces without turning soft and sad halfway through your plate. If you like the idea of keeping ingredients simple, and you want pasta that feels intentional, Setaro is a strong pick to finish the list. So that's the lineup. 5 brands I'd skip because they either rely too heavily on marketing, cut corners that show up in the pot, or just don't cook the way pasta should. And 5 brands that actually deliver a better experience. Not because they tell a prettier story, but because they perform better when you make dinner. Now, I want to hear from you. What pasta brand is sitting in your pantry right now? The one you always grab without thinking? And if you've had a pasta brand completely fall apart on you, or make sauce slide off like it's allergic, tell me which one it was. I read those comments, and honestly, that's where the best warnings come from. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.